Welcome to today's webinar on how to create and manage TV channels for yourself and for your clients using the Livecast365 platform. Last year saw the birth of a brilliant tool called Nano Express, and in a period of 1 year, it has grown from a clever tool to the entire fully fledged platform, allowing you to run multiple TV channels on multiple platforms, freely combine on-demand video and live streams, integrate with your website and multiple social media platforms, and tap into multiple streams of income. Livecast365 is a platform that you have to see to believe it. And clients whom you sign up will happily stay with you for many years to come. My fellow web warriors, Brill O'Shea, who is the creative mind behind the Livecast365 project, is with us today. And on that note, Brill, could you please take over?
Well, hello, everybody. So today I'm just going to run through a quick deck, sort of just highlighting a few things that I think are important to know. And then what we can do is take questions at the end. And when answering the questions, I could even log in and show a little bit of the back end for people that haven't seen it. So to get this thing started, we have the main slide here, but I think we try to encompass what we're trying to tell people with our saying, you've created the content, you've created the content, you've marketed the content. Why would you give up ownership or control or share your revenue of your content? And that's pretty much sums up the way it works today, whether you upload to a YouTube platform or something like that, and they control the advertising dollars, and they deem what they're going to pay you is what they're going to pay you, or you have to go out and upload to another platform and they'll charge you a base price, plus they'll charge you some bandwidth and things, even though they may tell you up front that they don't. They do in their terms of service if you don't behave in a certain way, because again, the game today is controlling the revenue of the player with the advertising dollars. So that's kind of like our overview of what we tried to deliver to get us out of this sort of environment. So quickly on the market overview, so we got this from Digital TV Research. I won't spend a lot of time here, but it's just to show you that it's still a building and growing market, and even the predictions for the years to come are on the rise. It's going to go from 68 billion in 2018 to 159 billion in 2024. So there's a lot of growth here. Subscription services are going to climb almost $30 billion in the next few years. And then additional findings where 34% of the people surveyed seek to switch to a lower cost option in the next 6 months. 98% of Roku cord cutters say they'll never go back. 2/3 of all cord cutters say they wish they would have cut cords sooner, right? So it's still a viable market is basically all this slide is telling us. I think that's important to know, especially for people. They're either going to go out and create their own channel or they're marketing channels to other people. So currently, most of the technology follows a similar path and goal, which is to control your content. Because if they can control the content, they're really controlling the content provider. So that works well at the beginning because, it's in the early stages. But as the industry grows or matures, the content providers are going to demand that they take ownership of their content, and they can actually monetize on their own their content because they realize that they don't need a third party. That third party is simply taking cut of their revenue, right? So it's done in many different ways currently, technically, whether it's giving you a free platform, like a YouTube saying, listen, here's a free platform, come do whatever you want to do. Or maybe they give you a player for free, saying, here's our player. Oh, it's definitely going to stream. Or they'll tout unlimited bandwidth, and that's fine, but the small print is while you're on our platform or while you're using our player, basically, because the minute you take it off their player, they lose control of the content. Your bandwidth is no longer free. It is charged, and it is a very expensive charge. Offering you storage at a CDN, then charging bandwidth is another thing going on today. So all these have a similar sort of thing, and it's to control the content provider, quite honestly. So we are an alternative to that. We don't tempt people in with free services or, free players or, one-time offers or all these things. Basically, we allow you with our system to build a business. And the only way that you can successfully build a business is if you understand the cost of your business. You can control the cost of your business. Therefore, you can set realistic pricing for your services that you offer and not have to worry if next month your costs are going to rise. So we make it viable to not only start a business, marketing channels and services, but also if you want to get back and actually make your own channel and start marketing your channel, because there are no bandwidth costs. So the what you pay per month is what you pay per month, and all you have to do is get enough viewers to actually offset that, and that's easy to do. It wasn't available before. We tested this with several platforms, and every single time our bandwidth fees or the fees that these companies wanted to charge us outweighed what we were making on advertising revenue. And then people that have been around for a while realized that the advertising game has sort of changed too, and then they started demanding that you have so many streaming hours or so many population, all that. So we've taken care of that as well. And the way we've taken care of that is we've partnered with advertising companies that wanted to partner with us because we do have some very famous people on our platform, and they wanted to put commercials on their content. And we negotiated it that if they want our very popular, very famous people, they have to put advertising on anybody who asks for it. So it's not mandatory that you have to use it, but it is there if you want to use it, and it actually pays about $3 CPM higher than YouTube would pay. So it's a good deal for you guys, but you don't have to use it if you don't want to. So why Livecast365? So we're a fully automated content delivery network. What this means is we have data centers, and we have a CDN laid on top of it, and we aggregate content and then allow you to syndicate this content to multiple platforms simultaneously. Well, that's a mouthful, So basically what it is we have an overlay, a Livecast365, that basically is controlling your data, so then it gives you the ability to put your data wherever you want it at no additional cost. So we are constantly adding third-party niche sites. We are adding, we have like the YouTubes and the Facebooks and LinkedIn and Twitter and those things already done. But as these things pop up, like I'll show you in the slide to come, we also start morphing our system to be able to take advantage of that, because we want you to have a portal where you can upload your content once and it can be shared on all these different platforms. So it basically lowers the amount of work you have to do, but it gains as much exposure as possible. So we give the solution, the content provider, the ability to take control of their content, because we offer a flat rate. And your advertising revenue is independent of us. So we are of no connection other than we negotiated the deal. So you have your advertising revenue, and you can use your own, because it really has nothing to do with us. But what's great about it is the advertising revenue that you'll receive, you actually have a third party like a Roku to go through to see what you stream, and then you can go through us, and then you can balance your books and say, well, I had this much streaming, and it says that I've made this much money over this other company, let me balance it. When you're all in one platform, like let's say YouTube, you have no way of balancing anything. What you get is what you get. They're going to tell you this is what it streamed, this is what you got, this is what we sold the ad for, and this is what your money is. Yeah, you can look at your stats, but their stats all came from one place, so there's no really check and balance system. So we think it's important that you have different places where you can check your stats versus check your money, so that you can make sure everything's on the up and up, right? So we extend the automation of OTT platforms and customized channels that are available on various platforms, right? So it saves you money by leveraging our one tool, because you don't need a staff to maintain a dozen channels because it's automated for you. So you'll save money not just on bandwidth and features, but you'll save money and that you'll need less overhead to grow a bigger organization, which, it's all about controlling your costs when you want to build a company. So I think that's very important. So this is an example of and these are screenshots from the back end. So this says Facebook. I think that one says YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. So if you have these accounts, you can integrate the APIs into these accounts. And so what will happen then is, every time you upload a video, you can decide where you want it to go. So you can set it one time and forget it. Meaning, let's say you have 20 channels, and let's say you set up Facebook. Each channel has its own command center that I'll show you. And that command center will actually be where you decide, yeah, this channel should go to Facebook, or no, this channel should not go to Facebook. Once you set it up one time, you can forget about it, because every time you upload a video, if you told that channel to go to Facebook, it will go to Facebook. If you told it to go to Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever platform, it'll automatically go to those platforms. Okay, so it's very important to understand how this automation works. And honestly, it's a huge platform, and there's going to be a learning curve, and it's going to take a lot of playing around with. We're constantly adding to it as well. So it's constantly growing, but we have a pretty big forum and group and community where people ask for features and upgrades and don't know how to do this, or bugs or anything that they think they found or want to talk to us about. So there's a big area for that. But this allows for deeper syndication of your content, because it can actually go to more than, just OTT platforms. It's bigger than that. So that's what this slide is trying to go about. So there's this new size called TikTok, and it's very popular. They're 10-second videos, right? So our system uploads entire videos. So right now what we're doing is we're implementing, because we see the popularity of TikTok, we're implementing this into our back end, meaning that you'll have a video and you'll be able to cut 10 seconds out of the video and press a button and send it to TikTok, so that you can have a TikTok channel too. Because like I said, this is a very popular platform, and it's growing like crazy. If you haven't heard of it, go check it out. We have no affiliation with it whatsoever, but we're constantly on the lookout for social platforms and websites and everywhere else that we can integrate to, that are another place where you can share your content. And of course, those shares from the last slide, they're not additional money. There's no additional cost for those. It's just a matter of what you want to personally do. So this is an example of ditch site integration that our system works on every time we see something. And back to that forum, in our forum, if you see a site coming up and you can post, say, wouldn't it be great if we're integrated to this site? So all of us will go look at the site, we'll vet it, see if it's cool, see if it's got a lot of action. And if we have several of our members that want that, we will implement it. So we're very quick to implement things that we think are going to help you guys out. Okay, so this is an example of the command center. So in our back end, this is a command center for a channel. So this is how you control an entire channel. If this was not an image and it was live and I click channel information, this would drop down and tell me what channel we're on. This is where I upload and configure and see and manipulate my content. So this is like the heart of a channel, but every channel has its own command center. So I think it's interesting, or it's important to know that it's constantly tracking your storage. Like I put this channel has 200 gigs worth of total storage. So remaining, it has 193.7. What that means is that obviously some videos have been uploaded to this platform, and we're just sitting here looking at the interface. So the command center is interfacing directly with our CDN as a partition virtual instance for the users. So that's another interesting thing that you would come in, if you come into our system, that you would realize is that when you join our system, we spin up specific servers for each person that joins. So the likelihood of us ever being totally down is very unlikely, because No, you're not all on one server. You guys are on many servers in many data centers, and they're all backlinked and connected to each other. So what's great about that is, let's say we end up, onboarding 1,000 people. Well, since they have their own server, when you guys are uploading videos, you're really uploading them to your own server, which gives you a lot of control and power. But what it also means is, if we have 1,000 people uploading videos at the same time, they're not all going to one server and tying it down. So the way our infrastructure is built to control these things is very, very impressive. The stuff you don't see is probably even more impressive than the things that you do see. And so I just wanted to bring that up. Not that it's important, but to us, it really is. Inline editing. So in the command center, we went down and hit current channel content. So if you look at the previous screen, that would be this current channel content. And then inside there, your video is going to open, your thumbnail, your categories, the descriptions, everything you need to edit this video. So, and another thing about this is that the way Roku or Fire, they have, you know how it works. If they have a category, and inside that category, you have videos. So you have the first video, second video, the third video, so on. Our system, you can use drag and drop and reorder those videos. So they'll reorder them on the platform. So you can actually change the order. So if you have a customer, or you just have a viewer that comes in today and looks, they're going to look at the four or five videos because that's what they see on their screen. Scrolling, right to get to the other videos is kind of like going down to the bottom of Google and hitting page 2, 3, 4. A lot of people just don't do it. If they don't see something new, they tend to leave. So with our system, it's an easy drag and drop, and it just updates everything. Or we have a button back there that says randomize, and when you randomize it, it just makes them random. So it's a way to make your content go further. So if you have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 videos in a category, if you keep shuffling them every day, it constantly looks like you have new content where you may not. So that's a really cool feature that I think we have. So the next slide is the media. So this is a third-party media company. It's sort of how they track, like if you have ads, they'll track your ad revenue, your hits, how many, possibilities you had for spaces open and how many were filled. And so you can talk directly with the media company, the ad company, and cut YouTube out of the being the middleman. So nobody's going to take any cut of your money because you have a direct relationship or an independent relationship with the ad companies. And the way that works is in the back of Livecast, there's a field. If you go back here, I think we'll probably even show it, is that there's an advertising configuration field, as you see here. If you select that, it sends a request to the advertising company on your behalf. They get a hold of you and set up your advertising. So we're completely cut out of that loop, which is great for you, because what you don't want is some middleman cutting into your profits, because again, you've created the content, you've marketed the content, you're getting the people to your website, or you're getting them to Roku, or you're getting them to the mobile device, whatever platform that you're running this on, you're doing all the work. So why should somebody get some of your money? It doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's the situation we find ourselves in now, right? So not only do you have your independent relationship, it's a great place to get third-party verification, because they have no relationship with Roku, they have no relationship with us. So you can actually verify what's coming into your system, which is just awesome. So here's some features that we have that other people don't have. We have website building and integration. So our sites, you can build channel websites, meaning that if you have a channel, like let's say you have a channel called Bigfoot Hunter, with a few clicks, you can make a channel website called Bigfoot Hunters. And it's actually tied to the Bigfoot Hunter channel. So your client could just go to bigfoothunter.com, they can log in with their password, and they can upload their video there. When they upload their video there, because that website's tied to the SaaS, it actually is uploading it into the back of the secure portal, and it's sharing it out to everywhere. So your clients don't even necessarily have to log into the SaaS at all. but that SaaS is white labeled with your logo and colors and everything. So it's independent. It looks independent as from us as well. But they don't even have to do that if you build them a website with our system. And then if you have a website built, they can also do full e-commerce, and that's integrated as well. True TV is something we have that nobody else has either. So it gives you the ability to actually drag and drop videos into a scheduler. So when somebody goes to your channel like Roku, there'll be on the top, it'll say live TV or True TV or whatever it is you name it, and they'll go and watch it. And depending on the time of day it is, it'll show the program, just like a regular television channel, one show after another. The video on demand stuff will still be there at the bottom. So it's not like it's one or the other, but it's just another feature if people want to just have like a regular, normal TV experience. Reordering videos, we talked about that before. We can shuffle them, we can drag and drop them, and that does it automatically on the television. So live streaming, you can live stream directly. You can have not just one live stream per channel. We have it that you can have several live streams a channel. So let's say you have a company, or let's say you have NASCAR, right? You could put a camera in every driver's car, and that car could have its own live stream. And then you could put that on one channel, and then I could go and look at my favorite driver and watch in his cockpit. So that's probably not happening. I don't know if anybody has connections with NASCAR or not, but if you do, I mean, it's a thing that can happen that doesn't happen. But this can happen to anything. Let's say you're doing, high school sports, right? If the high school is having 3 or 4 sporting events at once, you could have volleyball, football, whatever, and then they click on that and they're watching the live stream for the volleyball, football, or whatever. So there's a lot of opportunity with live streaming. You can do it on anything that's connected to the internet, including your cell phone, and live stream right from that if you like. That's the mobile live streaming that we're talking about next. You can do multi-channel live streaming, meaning you can send it one live stream to multiple channels, and it'll still live stream to like your Facebook and all those other ones if they're selected. So we also have a subscription platform. Think of that like Netflix. It's one of the SDKs that we have available. So basically you can have a channel and a website. You can launch both of them off our platform, and it could be a monthly subscription that you could set whatever price you're going to set for it. You can certainly do that, or you could do an open channel that's free and you put ads on it, but maybe you have a pay-per-view event. So you can put a pay-per-view event on the channel as well. So that's important to know. We do custom layout and designs of channels. So, I'm sure you all know what Direct Publisher looks like. It's Direct Publisher. Ours, you can do some really customized cool things with. So we do that all through SDKs. One of our SDKs is a lead generation system, meaning that a subscription channel means if I go to the Roku channel, I say, okay, I want to watch this content. A paywall comes up and says, oh, you have to subscribe for $9, $10, whatever the customer set that up to be. Now, a lead generation site, it stops you and says, well, I need your name, your phone number, your email, or whatever information you're trying to grab. But it doesn't cost them any money. But instead, that information comes back and I'll write it to a lead in the CRM inside their website. So it'll actually be a lead that's generated for somebody that wants to watch that content. So that's a very important platform. This is probably handy for real estate agents, lawyers, insurance agents, anybody that does a sale off a line but needs to get leads. I mean, it's great for that. Product sales, you can sell things, digital downloads or hard goods. Now, our SDK will do that for you. We have some things in our back ends. We try to steer people away from that. And the reason is that the reason we do that is because we have our system, and it'll put your product up there. But Roku, which has nothing to do with us, they're going to take a fee. I think their fee is like 30%. So what we suggest people do is have a site and say, listen, you can buy this product here or go to our website for a savings, because 30% is very expensive. So if you're going to use that at all, if you have a product that you're selling for $20, I would mark it up 30% if you're going to put it on Roku and then have a banner saying for discounts, go to our web store, right? Because you don't want to lose 30%. You can also take donations. That's easy. Our streaming's unlimited. Our bandwidth's unlimited. It's totally platform independent. You can do it on a Mac or Linux. Anything that has a web browser, you can do it. Third-party earnings verification. You can check Roku and the media company, your own, or the ones that's integrated with us, whatever you want to do, and then do it against our stats. So Nielsen ratings, so the every channel's rated. You can do Google Analytics. Your websites, you can actually put Google Analytics on it, or you can put Google Ad integration if you want to get ads on your websites. That's their syndication. So because we have the scheduler, you can actually, if you create content, you can actually say, okay, I've got this content on this channel. I want to sell it this content. So you could say, listen, I want to syndicate this content for $99 a month. So the other users will see that this content is for sale, but it's not for sale. Think of it for lease. I pay $99, then I get that content you sold me, and that automatically shows up in my content area. But next month, if the payment doesn't go through, it magically disappears as well. The reason it's a monthly fee and the reason it goes on like this is because you're probably going to put new content on every week or whatever. You're a content provider, but you can also send your content. There's a lot of ways to use this. You can say syndicate my content for $0 if you're just trying to get on other people's channels. So because that's going to be ratings for you, it's going to be eyes to see your product or service or whatever it is show that you're trying to have. So I think that's very important to note about syndication, although you can't charge for it, you don't need to. Personal ad sales, you can sell ads and include them into your station. So you don't have to use an ad company. You could sell your own ads, and it's quite lucrative to do that. Ad promotion from Livecast365. So we have putting up a platform that's actually going to be selling ads where people can go to the page and actually bid on, if they want to put it in on this channel, that channel. So we'll be integrating that shortly. It's in beta right now. Since you can live stream, you can run webinars just like this, but I'll forewarn you, the webinar is a chat room and it is a live streaming platform that you can, share your screen and all those kind of things with, but it's not nearly as sophisticated as the other tools out there, but it's included in your platform and it doesn't cost any money. So it's a good webinar system, but it doesn't have all the features of, a full webinar package that you would pay for. But, it will give you the feature to sit here and do it with a camera or do a screen share like I'm doing right now, have a chat room and talk and get through it. So cross-channel promotions. So that's another thing that we're able to do. There's a lot of people that have been having problems with platforms like Roku and Fire and stuff. So if you have let's say you have a real estate channel, you call it Columbus, Ohio Real Estate, and then you want to open another real estate channel called, Pickerington, Ohio Real Estate, which is just a suburb of Columbus. So what Roku is starting to do, and all the other OTT platforms are saying, listen, we don't want you to keep putting up channels of similar content. With our system, you can actually put up a real estate channel and publish that channel through Roku. And then you can build channels in our back end that you never have to publish on Roku, but you can have it on your real estate channel. It's kind of like a cloaked sort of posting of a channel. So it's not really having to get approved by Roku the way the other channels need to be approved. And this is great if you have similar content. Like, for example, you can see this in action. If you have Roku, you can go to spray paint lessons. And at the top, you're going to see a button that says graffiti. Well, graffiti is an entirely different channel, but the graffiti channel was never published on Roku at all. It's just another channel that, through our system, embedded it in the channel when it pushed it up there. So now I can have somebody that goes to my Columbus, Ohio real estate channel. I can make them an agent and they can upload to that channel. I can have another one called Pickerington, Ohio real estate, find somebody in Pickerington, they can upload to that channel. So now it's kind of an aggregator of these channels, and because they're individual channels, I can put individual people on them to build them. So there's a lot of this kind of stuff going on. Those people that you assign to the channel are called agents. A producer is somebody that has a channel. Let's say you have a channel, it's a comedy show, there's a button in there you can click and say, yes, I'm accepting shows. So if you click that button, when we get stuff come in, people pitch us shows, our system will say, oh, you're pitching a comedy show. So they'll get an email saying, yeah, this is an interesting show. We'd really like to send that to this channel because that producer of that channel may be interested, and then you get that lead. You don't have to turn that on. Any of the stuff you don't have to turn on. It's all pieced together so you can turn on and off any and all of these features. But these are so we have all the other common features, but these are features that our platform offers that other people do not offer. So behind the scenes, I won't go into much of this, but what you see is the simple automated point and click platform, right? But what you don't see is our complex server network and design and all this stuff that's maybe not that important to you. But that's really the powerhouse, is what's going on behind the scenes. It's very robust, it's very scalable, and it's very safe. So we're very proud of it, so that's why we threw this slide in. Probably not beneficial to you guys, but we love it. So next, what's our future? Our future is, we're going to have a Livecast TV, right? And when they go to Livecast TV, all they're going to see is a menu, right? That menu is going to be of every single channel of every single one of our clients, because when they go click on this, they'll actually go to your channel and you'll make the revenue for all of it. Ours is just it's an aggregator of an aggregator, right? So you aggregate individually for each channel, and then we aggregate each channel to an overall aggregator. And then we're making these HDMI plugins. We'll be selling them to clients out of Best Buy and all these other platforms. And what will happen is they can go in there, plug that into their TV, plug it into a laptop, whatever they want. They bring up the guide. They make their own guide, like they can make a guide called comedy, and then they can search all the comedy channels and add their favorite on there. They can make a second guide called horror or kids or whatever, and they're making their guides, and then whenever they take their stick, they have access to all this content. So it's kind of a future state sort of thing. That's where we're going. But I think that's about it. So I kind of rushed through it, but I belabored some points, I feel. But Dr. Alex, I'm sure if there's questions, he can read them off to me and we can try our best to answer them. Dr. Alex, are you on?
Yes. I've been following everything with interest, and yes, there are questions. Well, one of them is there are people who would love to see you share your screen and just go a little bit through the options that are in Livecast365.
Okay. I'm sharing my screen. Dr. Alex, you can be the voice of telling me if you see my screen.
Yes.
Okay.
I can see it.
So here's the login screen, right? So I'm going to log in. And so here's my back end of my channel. You'll see it says 365 and it's blue or whatever. So if you go in here and go to settings, that's the first thing we tell people to do. You upload your own logo, you set your own colors. Like, let's make it red for a second. And then the footer down here, I can change whatever I want. I hit save. It's going to reload. It's going to change it to my own logo, my own colors. That's very bright and irritating, so I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to make it kind of a darker thing because that's kind of what I like. And so now we're back to something like that. So this is how you sort of white label your thing. You come in here and just white label it up. The create channel stuff. So my thing's blue, so it's going to turn everything sort of this blue and black. And so to make a channel, it's very simple. I mean, you just pick categories, subcategories. And then what I do is I assign an amount of storage I want to assign to this channel. So if it said I have 50 gigs of storage and I put 10 gigs here and hit next, by the time this is over, it's going to minus 10 gigs out of there because it's reserved for this channel. But no fear, you can always go back into the channel manager in the command center and actually add or delete storage, whatever you want to do. Everything's individual and a la carte. This is obviously a test account, so I've got an outrageous amount of things, like 1.1 petabytes worth of storage. I mean, it's not really, I obviously will never use any of this because it's just a demo channel, but it's got here's my basic inventory of everything I could use. I'm not going to create this channel because I got enough channels that I can already demo. So inside my channel manager, so that graffiti channel, that Smart Lessons spray paint channel I was telling you about is right here. So it has its own command center. Here is the command center. Now it has traditional feeds. This one's new. It's an MRSS feed. It stands for Media RSS. A lot of websites use that, consume data, and news agencies use them as well. If you upload an intro or an outro or a credit, every time I upload a video, it'll add the intro, the outro, the credit. Clever people will realize that if I upload an intro, and then upload a video, they can actually go to the JSON feed, right? Open it up in another channel, and they can look at what the video is, download that video, and make that video that has an intro and outro an intro, and stitch videos together that way. So there's a lot of cool things that alone can do. But anyway, here's your uploader. So you can upload local content just by browsing. It's pretty normal. You can open YouTube content from a link. You can bring entire channels. You bulk upload this link through a text file, or you can bring in entire JSON files. When you do bring in content, it actually goes into the content, the current content, channel content. So like the platforms and websites and everything else, you can filter based on what's in categories. So here's a category that we have, and you can see it's in that category right now. So if you were to go to Roku and go to this channel, spray paint lessons, you'd actually see under the category sketch or sketch, whatever that is, you would see this to be the first video, that to be the second, that to be the third. If that's confusing, you can list them down like this, and you can see them in this order. But if I don't want that to be first, I can simply click it, and I can move it over, and I can move it here. Now that just moved it to the second spot on Roku and Amazon and all my platforms. If I don't want to mess with that, I can just hit this randomize button we talked about earlier. It'll randomize all of them. So we do have people that then later leave, and then they come into their channel again, and they'll open up a ticket and say, oh, my videos are gone. They're all gone, but they're not gone. They're filtered, So if I go back to display all your videos are back. And then you click on any video, it doesn't matter, and the video is going to load, and it's going to show you the video, show you everything about it. If you want to change things, you just click on it, and you just do uploads or do changes, however you want to do it. So you can actually edit all your stuff in line right here. A live content works the same. So like if I'm in my configuration, this one obviously has an SDK. So if I want to change that SDK, what I can do is go in here and change my menu color. I can add any VAS tag in there. I can set my ad break 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, whatever I want to do, right? I can add categories, because in this SDK, you don't have to go into categories inside of Roku and set them up. You can put them here, and this SDK will transmit that to them. You can set a background image and then set the opacity on the background image, right? And this is a really cool feature. These are the banners and the live screen banners and the page. But let's say, like, I wanted to add graffiti to this. So if I go out of this channel, this is very interesting. I go back to my channel manager. I have this graffiti channel, but if you look at it, this graffiti channel is not published. So the thing about it is, if I go to my channel here, my spray paint one, I could easily go into that SDK configuration, and I can say, I want to add a page. So this page is going to be called graffiti, right? And what I want, oh, that's not, I don't know what that is. That's crazy. I can say here, grab the graffiti channel and bring it into this channel. So now what happens if I hit save is when you go there, you're going to see that it has a home button, there's a graffiti button, and a live button. And even though graffiti is not published, it's going to use the graffiti channel inside the channel. So what I can do is when I want to add stuff on the graffiti page, I have to go into channels and go into graffiti, go into there, and then upload content to this channel, which you'll see here. All right, and then it's filtered. It's just like all the other channels. The only difference is it's never been published. And instead of it being published, it was actually conjoined to an already published station. So it gives you the ability to actually do that real estate, Columbus, Ohio real estate, whatever, without having to worry about, to have to worry about there being a problem with similar content, right? So channel configuration is kind of where everything happens, right? So I'll show you one. I'll show you a channel. I think this one's a good one to show you. Just kicking it around. And anyway, the configuration, I say, listen, I want to do an SDK. I hit SDK. It's going to load my options. So I can do a subscription. That's like a Netflix. If I want that, I can simply click it, upload the images, and go. If I want a podcast, I can open that and just upload this logo and hit create and go. Advertising, that's the one we're using, right? Because we wanted to put ads on it. The reason that edit one that we did earlier, that's where you saw the VAS tag. It's because I'm using this. If you want to use membership and leads, you got to fill all this stuff out. You just change the pictures, whatever you want to do. If you want to use product sales, same deal. Come in, change your pictures. You put all your stuff in here and you hit OK. Once you do that, that's just the beginning of it, because then you've got to configure it. So back to the channel spray paint lesson. So that was obviously done as an SDK. It was completed. Now when I go there, I hit edit, and now I do all my configuration work. Change the menu colors, background colors, whatever I want to do. I can, if I don't like it, I can reset the template. It'll take it all back to brand new for me. It's fine. Well, you can do that as well. Amazon Fire, you know, you can just go to Creator, because this one has Creator on it. So I can just go to Creator and put that link in there. Apple TV, if you want Apple TV, what you do is fill out this form and all the different things that it requires. It requires a lot. Live streaming, we just go through some of this. So live streaming, I can have as many live streams as I want. I just fill all this stuff out. They'll actually show up in your live content up here. This is called stream 1. I can have stream 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 20, give it a name or whatever. If so, I edit this stream, because nothing's streaming on it right now, it's just going to have a stay tuned banner. But all I need to know is this is a URL, and that's the key. So every time I make a live stream, it'll have a different key. So as long as I give the right key to the right person, everything will be great, right? So there's that. So OTT configuration, this is where I turn on and off things. So like if I don't want Apple TV, I turn it off. If I turn off Apple TV, it puts another one of the Apple TVs back into my usage here. So you don't ever lose things. They're assigned and then taken out and put back in. So it's more of a management, resource management application than a loss. Because if I go into this thing, for example, and I go into the settings of this, I can change categories, but I can also say, no, I just want to make it 100 gigs, or I want to make it 500 gigs, or whatever it's going to be. Obviously, whatever you change it to, you've got to have enough, you've got to own enough storage, or error. They'll say you don't own that much storage. Do you want to buy more? And then it'll prompt you to buy more. So you can't just willy-nilly just add anything you want. You actually have to have the resource purchased, right? Live True TV. So this is every single video I've uploaded actually shows up in True TV. Here's my scheduler Monday through Sunday. And so if I want to do Monday, I can say, listen, at Edge of the World, wherever that is, I'm going to put it there. Let's say that's a 45-minute show. I can click down here and say, oh, then at 1:46, I'll do African Sunset or whatever. So I have to fill out the whole schedule, and then you got to hit save. And then it'll ask you for a network name, all sorts of stuff. But you'll get that. It takes a while to build these schedules. And to even have enough content, because it's pulling content out of here. But like I said earlier, under additional revenue streams, I could say I could sell all the content that's in here for a monthly fee of, I could put $99 to activate. Then other people that say, well, this content is complimentary in my channel, they could, you know, pay the $99, and then inside their content, magically it would just show up. The minute their next month payment didn't go through or they canceled, at the end of the 30-day term, all my stuff would magically disappear from here. So that's an option as well. Multi-streams, we talked about that. Advertising, there's the VAS tag. So I use that VAS tag, and I go inside of Roku, edit, and I just paste it there. And all of a sudden, that's the ESS one that's integrated with the site. But if you don't do that, you can grab any VAS tag as long as it's compatible and throw it in there. And the VAS tags are normally pretty uniform, so it's typically not a worry. So there's a lot of features inside the channel manager. Each outside the channel manager, there's webinars, there's user managers. You can make packages. So like, let's say you want to sell to somebody that's a clown. Okay, you can just make a clown. I don't know. And you could say the clown's going to pay $4.50 a month with $300 setup fee, and you're going to give them one of these, whatever you're going to do, right? And you hit save. So then you go to user manager and say, okay, I'm going to create a new enterprise client, right? I'm going to call this guy Mr. CC for clown, right? And I'm going to put his username in, his last name in there. Hold on, let me just copy this, paste that. And then I'm going to make his login that, his password that, and his email this as well. This is all nonsense. But what's important here is that the package I assign him is the right clown package, right? Because then if I save this guy, so I'm saving this as an enterprise user. So what's going to happen is if I log out, so I tell him to go to the website, right, whatever your website is, and then tell him his username and password, which I think is just CC, and then he signs in, it's going to say, look, your setup fee is $300. It costs $450. I don't want to say that. And that's how much it is to start. Notice it carries your branding, your colors, and everything through. The minute this guy buys, whatever it says he gets, 50 gigs, one of these, it's immediately credited to his inventory so that you don't even have to be involved in it. You receive the money. And the way you receive the money is you set up your own merchant account in here, whether it's PayPal, Stripe, or Authorized.net. You decide which one you're going to use, and then when somebody pays, it'll go to your account. Again, that has nothing to do with us. We don't get anything out of that at all. Our fees are basically based on the storage you use and then the items you want to add to your inventory to use and or resell. So there's a lot more. Like you can build these websites like we talked about, and there's a whole thing about that, a whole thing about e-commerce and webinars. And then here's the user forum we talked about, where people go there and they put their wish list of things, and there's different people talking about different things. So that's important. There's a whole messaging system here. There's just so much to go over that we couldn't possibly cover it all here. But there's a messaging system. Like, look, it looks like this guy, Kurt, added a link to Dance Battle. So this is saying that I requested this Dance Battle channel have ESS advertising, and then he put it in there. But let's say I don't know what that meant. I could reply, and then we could start a back and forth on the right group that is responsible for whatever. This came from Livecast. Please set up your merchant page, which is here, which is what I just showed you. But if you didn't understand that, you hit reply, it would go back to the right group inside of our company to actually work with you on what these system messages mean. So basically, that's kind of a summary of it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go back over. Dr.
Okay, well, we do have a number of questions to go through. Thank you for the summary, Brill.
Yeah.
Now, the first one is, well, actually, there were a few people who were asking how can we get access and the prices and what happens to my setup fee of $50. Now, as I understand it, there is a special for people who have already registered. And let me just open that offer. Now, bear with me for a second. This is the very first time I'm doing that. So hopefully you can see it on screen. Now, if you follow that link that says Build Unlimited Channels, it opens the web page with two packages that Brill and the team put together for you. And Brill, could you perhaps go through that offer?
Yeah.
And also talk about the $50
Absolutely.
that people already paid for.
Absolutely. So what happened for everybody that paid the $50? Maybe a week ago, we sent out an email to all of them. I don't know if you didn't get the email, if it went to spam or whatever. But what we've done is for the people, because that was the setup fee, right? So what we've done is we've taken off the setup fee. So the setup fee is usually for the base package is $99, but we've taken it off. So when you go there, you'll have zero setup fee, and the setup fee won't be put back on until Tuesday the 17th. So currently, when you go there, there won't be a setup fee at all, and it's your turn to basically get in. Like I said, we did send out an email to everybody. We pulled everybody's email addresses. So when you checked out and paid the $50, whatever email address you put in there is where the email was sent to. But we've taken off the $99 setup fee because, you paid $50, which you got to deal off that. You know what I mean? Which is great for us, good for you guys and everything. And also, so the business one, the bigger one, has a setup fee of I think $199. So it's either going to save you, $49, or it's going to save you $149, depending on what packages. Either one of these packages do not have a setup fee until Tuesday, the 17th.
Okay, now can you see those two packages on screen, the individual one and the business one?
Yes, we can see those.
Okay, so Brill, could you just go through what is part of the package?
Yeah, so here's the thing. So you can see kind of where it's at. So different things. So each thing, the way it's set up in the back, when you become a member, everything is sort of a la carte. So if, let's say, you need another True TV, I showed you the True TV, it's that scheduler, but that scheduler has to be assigned per channel. So let's say you have a second channel and you want it to have True TV as well. So there's a monthly fee for that. You would have to buy that and then assign it to that channel. What it's really set up for do is when you get in the back and you go through the pricing, you'll actually see there's two sets of pricing. It'll say cost, that's your cost, and it'll say your price. Because let's say you get something for $20, right? Let's say it's $20 a month for Apple, okay? But you can make your Apple price $45 a month. So when your clients are actually in their web portal, the SaaS of your back end that's white labeled like yours, like mine was white labeled for me, if they want to buy it, they're buying it at your price. But you have to have it in your inventory to sell it, just like any store, right? If you're in a store and you have the wholesaler bring you 2 loaves of bread and 3 people show up, the third person is not going to get a loaf of bread. The same thing here. You either have it in inventory and then you can sell it because you got to own it first, or you don't have it in inventory and you can't sell it. And when that happens, let's say you have no more storage available in inventory and somebody says, I want to buy 50 gigs, it's going to say, sorry, that's currently not available. Please contact, and it'll use the email address that you had set up when you joined Livecast. And it'll shoot you, that customer will have to shoot you an email saying, hey, I tried to have 50 gigs. I couldn't buy it. And the reason for that is you just didn't have it in inventory. So every piece, because some people want, all these things, and you might have a channel that you just want to be direct publisher and you don't want any of these add-ons. Well, we don't think it's fair because this $199 a month, you have 50 gigs of storage. You could have 51 gig channels if you want. We don't charge you per channel. So if you had 51 gig channels, maybe one of them you want to have an SDK on. The other 49, you may want direct publisher, or you just want the basic Amazon Fire. You don't want any bells and whistles on those. So it doesn't force you to have those bells and whistles on every channel. So even out of this $199 package, you could have 51 gig channels if you like. You could have 150 gig channel. And you don't have to assign any of these things. Maybe you don't need True TV, so you never assign it to anything. But they're all a la carte. So it's not like after you get in the inside, you can actually replenish your stock one at a time. It's not like you have to buy a package of anything. So you can either buy it as you need it, or you could buy it up front. So for example, this first one is on $199, it's 50 gigs, right? So when you go in there and you see the prices of storage, it gets cheaper the bigger bulk you buy, right? So the thing about it is you may have a business that says, say, well, listen, I know I'm going to do this, so I'm going to buy it cheaper, so I'm going to buy a bigger bulk. Maybe I'm going to buy 500 gigs because I've got this and that to do. So the way these packages break down is really what you end up getting, right? So, and then you can consume them however you want. And it's pretty straightforward in this picture, what you get, 1 of each or 3 of each. And of course the prices per month. And just when you go in and buy now, there'll be 0 setup fee. And so on the 17th, there'll be the 99 and 199 setup fee.
Right. I think that one really good thing about the packages is that you can always upgrade and you can always downgrade the package. In other words, you can always add new components and you can always get rid of the ones that you're not using. There has been a few questions about the replay. So if you missed any part of the webinar, the replay will be available in two versions. So all the people who have registered for the webinar, they will be getting automatically the link that essentially replays the webinar together with everything that is typed into the chat box in real time. And apart from that, the second replay, which is lightly edited for better viewing, will be available. I will be putting that on YouTube and selling and I will be sending the link to everyone to see it. Well, moving on, question is, can we move the content from one channel to another as we could in Nano Express?
Yes, you can move it.
Okay, so that was a quick answer. The next one has what is happening with the affiliate program? Is that one coming back?
It is. We're getting everything set up first and make sure that it's good. And we're actually building that. We've been building it for a couple weeks now. We're just testing it to make sure it's all good and everything, but it is coming back, yes.
Okay. Now, there are a couple of admin questions. There is an error, 500 server error, that appears when creating a SDK channel.
Not anymore. Who wrote that?
Oh, well, that is a good question because I'm copying the questions, but in order to see who put the question through, I have to go back to the chat.
Whoever wrote that, just have them send me an email because we resolved all of that. And if they're not resolved for some reason, they just need to email me and copy Woody.
Right. Okay. So that is connected to another question. If people send an email to support@livecast365.com, is that the best email to use?
It is.
All right. So if you're getting an error on screen, yes, well, because the platform is live, new components are being added. Sometimes, the system needs to be updated, and I think that with pretty much almost all of those errors, they will disappear on their own if you only try, 10 or 15 minutes later. But if not, use the support email, and any problems will be addressed very, very quickly. Okay, now when we aggregate channels with similar content, how many videos can we have on each channel?
They're SDK, so you can just keep putting them on there. So, I mean, there's no real, I wouldn't put more than maybe a couple thousand, maybe 1,500. And then I'd make a new channel out of it, but, a lot.
Right. Yes, well, with the SDK, there are no limitations. But if you're not using the SDK, you need to keep in mind that the direct publisher format does impose the limitation. And the limitation is the total of 20 categories and a total of 50 videos per category for the total of 1,000 videos per channel. If you use SDK, that limitation disappears, so it's not there. And that's not the limitation imposed by the Livecast platform. It's the feature of the direct publisher Roku format. Another one, are podcasts supported?
Yeah, if you use the podcast SDK. That's the podcast SDK that I showed on my screen.
Okay. Does the system have recording capabilities, like the capability to record 3 videos stitched together and save as a single longer video?
That's why I was showing you with the intro, outro. You could add an intro of one video and then upload a second video. It'll stitch them together. And then you could take that stitched together video and make that whole stitched together video an intro and then stitch together another one. You could theoretically put together a 2-hour documentary in that fashion if you wanted to. So yeah, you could definitely do that.
All right. On the cloaking type channels, would the customer still be able to find a channel in, for example, Roku?
Give me that.
Plus, are Apple and Amazon changing in a similar way?
Read that again. I didn't understand.
Okay, well, I'm not really sure about it myself because cloaking type channels, are we talking about private channels? I think that the question refers to private channels because Roku doesn't have anything that would be called cloaking type channels. But when you create your channel, it is initially private, which means that you can view it and all the people that you give the URL to add your channels, they can view it too. However, the channel is not publicly available, which means that people cannot find it through searches until the channel has been approved as the public one. So I hope that that answers the question. The next one is what features are still in development, such as a True TV? Well, True TV is available right now. So,
Well, here's the thing about that too. So we have a lot of questions about stuff like that. So I think we have to make videos on really how to use it. So people won't use it. They don't. It has to be set up in the entirety right now to use it. So we've got some tweaking still to do on that because some people don't have. A lot of our people don't have enough content to do it, to fill out all the days and all the time. So we're still tweaking that because just to answer that question in a broader sense, it's never going to be done. What we're working on right now is more SDK templates. We're working on more connections like to TikTok, things like that. And then we're working on streamlining some of the tools that are already in there so they're easier to use. Live True TV being one of them. We've had a lot of people have problems with it. So we're trying to rework that right now.
How do we embed a Livecast365 feed from a channel into a website that is not built by Livecast365?
Give me that again. Say it one more time. It's sort of cut out.
Okay, so there will be people who have websites that are not built by Livecast365. And what they like to do is to be able to embed the Livecast365 feed. Can that be done?
Yeah, so you could actually take any one of those feeds, bring it into your website and parse the feed and put all the videos in there and everything. In addition, you could make a login button. You can, and we get this question all the time too. You could make a login button. You could, wherever you bought your name, whatever your name is.com, you could actually go to wherever you register that name and make a CNAME or cat name and call it secure. Like it could be secure.yourname.com and forward and mask that to the secure site so it all looks like it's your URL. You could then make a button on your web page, send it to your secure.whateveryouare.com, and it would send it over there automatically. Same thing with registration, like the registration page, you could put just a button on your page and it would open the registration, and you could do a masking of the URL that way as well. So bringing it in and out is quite easy. Sending stuff from your website over is quite easy because you just link over to it and mask the URL. Sending stuff from there into your site would take a little bit of programming because you have got to you've got to parse whatever, like the MRSS feed. Like if you're used to parsing RSS feeds for news on your website, the MRSS feed works the same way, but it's just for media. So you can use that. It might take depends on how you want to go about it, and also depends on what platform you're using, right? Because I mean, if you use like a WordPress thing, they probably got free plugins that you can bring in MRSS feeds or XML feeds, and then you put the plugin in and just grab your feed from your channel, put it in there, and voila. I mean, you know, so it depends on what you're doing. So when you start talking about your own platform, it really is dependent, but you can definitely consume the feeds that we have.
What is the optimum file size to upload for viewing with the best clarity on TVs?
So the you know, there's different opinions. Me personally, I mean, there's 4K that you can upload, but you got to understand, um, one half of 1% of the population has a 4K TV, and it'll take up what 2 or 3 times more space. So by all means, if you want to pay for the extra space for those high res, high end, things that less than a half of 1% of the population is going to use, I mean, that's your business decision. But that said, I mean, we put up 1080p all day long. It looks nice. So, I mean, I wouldn't make it any bigger than that.
When you rearrange the videos, is there a save option? I tried it, and when I went back, the videos were back in the old spots.
So let me explain how that works. Oh, does he mean that when he went back into the channel, the videos didn't stay rearranged? Is that what he's? So email that to me so I can clearly understand that question, because what it's
right
is basically the JSON. So really, just whoever wrote that, email me and copy Woody, and I will get a more understanding of what you mean about it rearranging, because it should, when you slide it over like that, what it's doing is actually changing the JSON. So if you're saying it's going back on your screen, I just have to get it to reread the JSON or something like that.
One thing that we are going to do is export all the questions that we get, and so if whatever reason the question is not fully answered, we can then email you the answer.
Yeah.
Any suggestions on a way to create our own vast take?
Yeah, you could set up your own ad server. I mean, you go to SpringServe and apply for an account, and you can run up your own ad server, and then you could go out and try to sell ads, and you could do all that if you want to do. It's a totally different business. I don't know that much about that business, but I do know that if you approach SpringServe and stuff like that, you could actually, I think they have a fee. I think it's maybe $1,000 or $1,500 a month, and you could set up your own SpringServe server, and I mean, you could then create your own VAS tags, but you'd have to sell ads. And I mean, that's a whole business, a whole other business, and it can be done. That's one way of doing it. I'm sure there's a million other ways of doing it too. I'm not really the business I'm in, so I'm not really sure other ways to do it. I just know how the bigger companies do it.
Mm-hmm. Could you give a comment about having content contributors who are using the WordPress site to upload the content? Can that be set up?
Yeah, I mean, so the thing about it is, so we use, we modify WordPress platforms when you guys get your channel. If you have a channel called Bigfoot Hunters and you launch a channel station, so that login will actually allow you to upload videos, and it'll be integrated in. Now, if you have your own standalone website, that's programming you would have to do, because obviously your website could be written in many different languages, and it could be done, like our main secure site, our SaaS, is actually written in hand through different languages for different things, and so there was no like automation other than what we created. So if you have a website like that, I mean, you'd be off coding it yourself. If you have a WordPress thing, there's probably plugins, or if you have Joomla, Drupal, I mean, there's a million CMSs out there. So it really depends on what you have and your ability as a programmer, or if you have programmers that can do it.
Okay. Is it possible to use multiple merchant accounts?
Yeah, like they're in there. So you can use a PayPal, a Stripe, and Authorize.net. But if you're asking, and you guys can email me this too, so it's clear. If you're asking if you use 2 different PayPal accounts, that's not currently in there. But in the form, there is a feature request page, and you could ask that for that feature. And if you get momentum behind that, meaning, a few people agree that it'd be great to have 2 or 3 different PayPal accounts in there at once, that's something we can add. But that's That's a future state thing. But you can use like Stripe and PayPal, or authorize.net and PayPal or Stripe. You can do that. You just can't use two of the same ones right now.
By what dates do you expect all the founders to be set up?
Well, we sent out emails to everybody. Again, some of the founders, like I saw on Facebook, like 3 or 4 of them, it's like, well, we've never been contacted. It's like, we did send mails, but let's get you contacted now. So anybody that is a founder that hasn't been set up, send me an email, because we're finishing those up this week. So a majority of them, though, have been onboarded. But we've sent emails. We've had some emails bounce back to us that we've had on file, and we've had some that not reply. So I know there's still a few out there. So definitely email me. That I think somebody would post my So you can just post that to us, and we'll take care of you.
Okay, now here is a question that I can answer quickly. Can existing Livecast users stack these packages on top of our current plans since they are discounted from regular prices? So when you are in your control panel, you can see all the prices that are for you, and these are the wholesale prices, and then you can set up any kind of package that you want, or you can add to the existing packages, or you can subtract features from the existing packages, so you have full freedom there to create the package that would work best for your clients. The next one, a few people try to purchase, and some of them are having a purchase error. Well, as we discussed previously, if you could just contact Brill or use the support email, that all will be sorted out very, very quickly.
That's fixed, by the way, so you guys can go back and you'll be fine. That was just a typo, but coding doesn't like typos, it turns out.
Okay.
I saw the first one, and then we fixed it, and then we went through it, and we verified that it's good. It should be good.
The next one is how do we upload MP3 to a channel?
So if you have the podcast, SDK, the uploader down at the bottom changes, and you'll see an MP3 uploader down there.
Okay. Is there an M3U8 file or HKS file generated for every live stream?
Is there a what file generated? HLS? Is that what you said?
Well, it says HKS, but yes, I'm sure it means HLS or M3U8.
Yeah, both. Well, I don't know about the HKS, but yeah, on the HLS and then you. So yes and no. So for more clarification, if you didn't mean whoever asked that MKS, send that into support and stuff, because I've never heard of that personally. But maybe that's something, I don't know. But no, not MKS, but MLS, HLS. Sorry, not HKS or whatever that was, but HLS, yeah. And the HLS. Yeah. So yes and no to that question.
Livecast does not currently support French accent in description fields of a video. When can we get this feature in place?
Again, we don't do individual custom programming for individual people. Post those kind of things in the forum, and if you get people, because what we do, there's a thing called features in our forum. Now let's say you say French, right? And let's say 50 people say we need French. We'd be like, well, we got to put this in. But if you put it in and somebody else puts it in Spanish, and Spanish gets 50 and French gets 1, we're putting in Spanish first, because this isn't customized to a person. We want to get all the features in there that for everybody. We want to have every single language known to man in there, but it's not possible to happen on a per user basis. So what we're using is that forum to see what are the most popular requests, and we're implementing them first. So I can't timeline that because I don't know how popular that request is. versus Spanish or German or Polish or Russian. I have no way to gauge it. But if we have 50 users that want Russian and 2 that want French, and we have to spend our time where it's better for the entire community. So I can't answer that question. But if you get it in the support place and go into features and post that, and people start saying, yeah, we need French, we need French, we need French, well, then it'll get to the top of the list.
How soon until we are able to auto post to channels?
Auto post to channel. So if you're talking about, so it'll auto post channels with a load button. But if you're talking about scheduling it like Monday at 3 o'clock, we'll probably have that sort of feature rolled out probably in a couple weeks. We'll probably put that in there. We're beta testing that because it can be abusive. But when we split everybody to their own server, if you use a feature like that, you're only basically overloading your own server. Because here's the problem. If you have a channel, and let's say that channel has 50 gigs on it, okay? And then you put your channel in there and say, every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, go to that channel and get what I don't have. What happens when your storage runs out of that channel? You get it? You see, because even though you may own a terabyte worth of storage, that channel may only have 5 gigs assigned to it. And it's not going to auto grow and just steal the storage from some other channel you have. It's set at a hard limit. So those are the problems we're working out with that. Not necessarily the function of doing it. That's fairly simple. But what happens if you set it and forget it, and a year later it'll bomb out at some point because you haven't put enough storage, because there's no way to tell how much you're downloading every week. So you'd still have to go in there and watch it and manage it. But what happens when you hit your limit? What does that do to your server? When that's what we're testing right now. So that could be a couple weeks off because we still don't know how to handle. You see, the way it works in software is you got to plan for the worst thing to happen. Hope it doesn't, but plan for the worst thing. And the worst thing that can happen is you make a channel, you say it's 5 gigs, 10 gigs, 100 gigs, whatever it is. You say, go get this channel and do it every day at 3 o'clock. And somebody goes in there and puts in, 5 gigs worth of new data, and you only have 1 gig left. What does that do to your old channel? Now they get stuck halfway through a download, right? So we have to code around that because that inevitably will happen. So people will run into that because whether it's in a month or 6 months or a year, because it'll be somebody will set it and forget it. But the storage doesn't auto expand. Therein lies the rub. Or we'll hear it's a bug. You know what I mean? It's really not a bug at all. It's just like we can't go and steal storage from Peter to pay Paul. So how do we, that's what those are the sort of the more complex questions we're trying to work out when doing that feature. Because this way, if you go into your channel, all you have to do is hit load again, and it'll load the difference. So you had to go in there, you had to press a button. But at the same time, you already saw how much storage you have left, right? And so you'll see that if it's going to take this new update or not. So that, we don't have a way to pull how much new data it is, and do you have enough on the channel? And if you don't have enough storage on, let's say a guy uploaded a gig and you had 900 megs left, we have no way to tell about that before we actually do the download, because we have to download the video to actually say how big the video is. And then we have to then compare it to what storage you have and then make a decision whether we're going to do it or not. And if we aren't going to do it, how do we notify somebody that it's not being done? Blah, 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 blah. There's just a lot of parameters to work out. From something that seems so simple has to be well thought through. So that's where we're at with that. So we're planning on we're just trying to figure out the best way to handle it. Because I don't want you downloading stuff every day at Wednesday at 3 o'clock that's not even getting uploaded. It's just tying up your server resources for no reason, because it can't be imported because the channel's at its limit.
What are SNAs and how do they work?
What are SLAs and how do they work?
Yes, SNAs.
Did you say like service level agreement? Is that what you're asking about?
I'm not really quite sure on this one. We might have
Whoever sent it, here, let's just do it like this. Whoever sent it, go to our website, go to the bottom, look at our terms of service, look at our privacy policy. It's a bunch of legal jargon that our attorneys wrote up and put out there. If that still isn't enough information for you, let us know, and our attorneys can answer that kind of question. No problem, but I don't know what you're asking. But whoever's
Is
asking, read that stuff and then send us an email.
with the videos that are more than 1 hour longer, is it possible to upload large videos?
Well, it is possible, but browsers time out. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to set up, because some people have very large, more than an hour-long video is not hard to import. That's not the crux. It's the size. Like if you're trying to upload a 10 gig video or a 3 gig or 5 gig video, I mean, at some point your browser is going to time out on your local machine, right? It's just not going to sit there and do work forever. So whatever that time is, if you have a larger file, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have a large file sort of upload that's an FTP service. You know what I'm saying? So that you can FTP that stuff, because some of the files that people are trying to upload are big. And I'm talking about several gigs big, right? And so when you try to put up a video that's that size, I mean, that's kind of what SSH and FTP are for, because there are browser timeouts inherent to all the browsers, which we can't control. I mean, we can control to a limit, but well.
We have a clarification on SMAs. That is actually the question on self-served ad system.
Oh, SMAS.
Yes.
Oh, the self-managed ad server. Okay. So that's an ad server, so we can have that. And what we're doing with that is you'll be able to put ads in it. And so then the ads will be able to run on your channel, but it's channel by channel. So it's not the best solution for ads. Me personally, what I think I would do with an ad, because this, the ad server does cost a monthly fee, right? So I think what I would do is I'd get an ad. If I sold an ad personally, I'd take that ad and I'd upload as an intro. And then I'd upload the videos just as normal, and that ad would play. And then I would sell the next ad, and do it that way. Because although that's takes an extra probably minute to do, it's probably the best way to do it, because A, you don't need that ad on, and B, you can really control the ads at that point. And you can really, because then it's tied to the play, of the video, which you can prove out to a customer. It depends on how you're selling the ad, right? If you're selling the ad for 30 days, 6 of one, half dozen the other. But if you're doing it for impressions and things like that, it's a different story. So it really depends on how you intend to sell ads. If you're out trying to sell ads, I'll do a whole video on that and put it on our Livecast365 of the different options, because that's a bigger conversation as well.
Okay, now when it comes to the white label, at the moment the links are not all of the links are being cloaked. In other words, if people mouse over the menu, it is possible to see the links appear.
We're actually stripping that off. So give us till next week. So the way that works is, we've already done this, we just haven't pushed it to the live server yet, is when you mouse over it, nothing will show. Things won't be cloaked, just nothing will show.
Nothing will show.
No links at all. So you hear that, Woody? It's just when you mouse over the links. Remember the part that Michael wrote? We just need to push that from the development server, which is a live server. So that's really weird like that.
Is it possible to automatically check the new content of a YouTube channel?
Well, that's what the scheduling thing would do. We talked about it earlier. That's what the scheduler would do. It would only bring in the new content. So, there's no button that we have in the back that says check somebody's YouTube channel. But what it would do is it would go out to YouTube. It just won't, our system won't download a duplicate video. So therefore, it only get the new videos. That said, in order to write that, we have a lot of things we have to sort out. And it's particularly, like I talked about before, particularly it's on how you deal with storage of the channel, because you've got it's math, right? So the thing about it is you've got a variable, meaning YouTube size of the videos and how many you're going to download, but then you've got a hard stop, meaning it's a fixed number that you've assigned to that channel. So we may have to bring in like some kind of technology if you're going to do that, but we'll have to write that it floats that amount, and it'll start eating it out of your main category to fill in the difference. But I don't know if people would be happy with that either. So like what I'm saying is, let's say you have 100 gigs and you assign 10 gigs to this channel, but you have this scheduler set every Monday at 3 o'clock. And let's say you only have half a gig left on the channel, and it goes out and hits YouTube, and it's like, he's just uploaded 2.5 gigs worth of stuff. So, we could set it that it would take the 2.5 gigs out of your main inventory and assign it to this. But then tomorrow, if some guy tries to buy from you, you come in like yesterday, I had, maybe you have 5 channels and you're doing this on all 5 channels. You come in the next day and say, dude, I had 50 gigs in my main inventory. Now I have nothing. I have new clients. Tell me where it's gone. Right? So then we'd have to go through their entire system and go, hey, when you see it's kind of a support nightmare, because people are going to want to know where that storage went if it just randomly floats like that, right? So there's a lot of problems with it, and it's not problems of doing it, it's a problem of how do you manage it.
Will the customer be able to see the plans that we create prior to us making individual plans for them, like the pre-made plans that we set up?
Oh, you're going to say it again. I really don't understand that question.
Yes, well, I think it's a complicated question, but I'll try to answer that one. So essentially, when you create a package, you can make that package prominent on your website. You can advertise the package that you create. And yes, this is what customers will be able to see. But once they go in and purchase your services, then they can add to it. They can request, more storage, for example, or they can request additional fees, additional services for additional fees that you have set up in the system. But the most practical thing is, if you're bringing people to the website, is to have, some pre-made packages that are already there. If your model is different, if you're contacting people on one-on-one basis, then even then it is a good idea to have few of the packages that are already pre-made, which can serve as the starting point when you discuss their individual needs. Okay, I hope I have answered that one. Where does the player live for the Roku content? When it comes to Roku, you have to use the Roku built-in players. So, there are no choice of players there. Will you support the Samsung web apps?
Yeah, actually, that's on development. Actually, we are actually getting ready to develop Samsung X. I think that's going to go into development. I think the first week in April, we're starting that development. We actually have a couple Samsungs here. We just got in. We just mounted. Just load them because we want to be able, you guys, to launch Samsung apps on TV. Yeah, so that's definitely on the development board.
What is the shortest time to go live, and is screen capture an option?
So live, so here's the thing. So there's a couple ways to look at this. So the shortest time, I mean, you could start streaming. You could be streaming for 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds to turn it off. So, I mean, you can stream as long as or as small as you want. Going live is setting up in the back, and it takes all of a couple minutes to set up your live thing. That's not a big deal. The biggest deal is once you have it, Roku has to update their, Roku reads the JSON, so they'll have to read the JSON and see that it's this new live area. That could take a few hours or a day. I don't really know their schedule, but yeah, so we can And this is another thing that we don't have installed yet, but we can put a button back there and really see, we don't really have the community, but this is a feature request you can ask for on the board. We could put a button back there that says record. And in where it says record, our servers can record them for you. Now, okay, here's the thing. Like if you go on there, we have customers that have gone on there and done an 8-hour live stream, you know? So you don't have unlimited storage, you have unlimited bandwidth, but it's not like if you're going to record it, it's actually recording and taking up storage every time, you know, every minute that it's recording. So at some point you're going to run out of storage if you're running a live stream. Let's say your storage that you have left on your channel is a gig, and you want to have a 4-hour kind of girls basketball tournament streaming. I mean, and you want to record it simultaneously. If you have our system do it, it's going to stop when you run out of storage. And so then people would be very upset at us because of like, well, I missed, I was trying to record this and I didn't get it. But truth of the matter is you got access to the amount of data that you paid for. So yeah, the next webinar, I see somebody, Steve and Keith, that talked about the webinar. So yeah, we can run the webinars from our platform next. And so out of here in the US, so that may help you, but not to get sidetracked. But yeah, I can see that being, I can see that that question about live streaming, the recording, and being a problem. However, that's not saying if you live stream and you do it, and let's say you take the feed and you put it on your own personal website, the live stream will be running on your website as well, or one of the web pages that our system built for you. So then there's all sorts of screen capture software you can run and capture that yourself locally. So that's the second option. So there's a lot of different options. You know, there's a lot of different options as far as that's concerned. Us recording it's probably not the best option, just because, just like your local computer, right? If you have a 20 gig hard drive, if you have 20 or 2 gigs left on your hard drive and you start live recording, by the time you're run out of space on your hard drive, your computer is going to crash. It's going to stop, you know?
Okay, now here is a question that pertains to the webinars that we are running. Is there any way you can do these webinar jam webinars from a US server? Every time you have a webinar, the audio is hard to follow between Alex and Brill. I can hear Brill great, but Alex cuts in and out a lot. Okay, yeah. Now in that regard, we are using Webinar Jam that is on a US server. However, I am physically located in Australia, and I'm paying for the fastest internet connection that is available in this country. However, that is about 1/10 of the speeds that are currently quite common in the United States. So I'm afraid until Australia, starts selling some better internet connections, this is the very best that can be done. This is the best internet that can be purchased in the entire country that I'm using. The next question is, will the support form be unbranded for our clients so that the white label stays white label?
No, because the problem is, if let's say hypothetically we did that, what's going to stop one of our customers, Livecast customers, from saying the term Livecast? How would we keep that unbranded? Because people are in there saying, here's a link, I have a problem getting to this, that, the other. And so because we could certainly make it whatever, but it's not going to, you don't want to put your users there, because somebody inevitably, because it's user driven, not company driven, somebody's going to put something that gives away they're using Livecast. So there's no real way that we could have it where customers, your customers, could safely access it without the fear of somebody saying something that would compromise your white label. there's not an option. Now, if somebody said, hey, could you put an option in the back of our thing to have a thing where we can launch our own forum? And then you would share that forum with your customers. That's a request. That's a feature request. We could certainly do that. And then it could not only, it could be totally white labeled to you, and it could be something that only your customers come to. And then you don't have to worry about any one of our customers saying something they shouldn't say. So that's a feature request. That's something we could certainly do. I don't think it's safe to white label ours, just for those very reasons, because I can't control what somebody else is going to say, or post a link, or what they're going to ask for. I just can't control that. I can control the color in the picture, but that's not securing any type of white labeling. That's just sort of general, high level. It looks different.
Can I create a channel? Can I create a channel and allow multiple people to have access to it and charge each of them individually?
Yes. Matter of fact, we have a great example of that. If you want me to show you guys, I can. I can go right to a website that our system built that does exactly that. Do you want me to share my screen again?
Yes, please.
Here I'm going. Turn on my screen. Hold on. I'm going to share it. So here's an example. So these people, they have a web portal, and the system built this web portal. So this web portal, they can say get started. So they can say, yeah, they're a current distributor, and they want to launch their own channel. That's one option. Or they want to be on Euphoria TV, which is their channel. So if that's the case, they say they have two different levels of access, this access or that access. So then they can charge this person and hit continue. And then what happens is this person pays, and then on the website here, they get a login and password to this website. And no, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. They get a username and password here, and they get to log in here, and they get to upload videos. But when they upload the video here, it's connected to their system back here. And so it all just ties together and works and goes to this Euphoria. Not only that, if you have something like this, there's another thing. There's so much to show. We could be doing this for the next week. Like this is a station, there's a channel. Somebody can join now and join. After they join, they get a login and password. If they get a login and password, they can submit a video. So this could be anybody in the world submits a video. So we have this thing called uploads, videos. And so if I was to open this channel, I can actually set it up so that this channel, anything that's uploaded needs approval first. So then it would say Bigfoot Hunters here. I'd see it. I'd see anything that got uploaded. I could view it. I hit approve. Then it goes everywhere. And the way you do that is you would go to the Bigfoot Hunter channel. You'd go here. You'd go into the channel. You'd go into the configuration, and there's this approval status. You see, this one is called Auto Smarts Radio. So if you go back to uploads, videos, you'll see that Auto Smarts Radio, anytime something's uploaded, it needs an admin to approve it. You don't see any other channels here, and the reason for that is if you go into another channel, you go to view, you go into the channel itself and go into configuration, and you go in approval status, it's not checked. If I checked it and say yes, then it needs approval. So not only can they write to the same channel, you can let strangers write to the channel that you can approve first. This, they don't have the approval set up because the people that paid are actually members of their thing, and they're setting something up. But this could be anybody that ran through the woods and took a Bigfoot video, or it could be some 16-year-old kid playing a prank, so they don't want to go to the TV, so that's the approval. So there's actually multiple options to do that. Let me turn that off. There's actually multiple options to pull that off. But yeah, that's an option, yeah.
With the new platforms being built, is the system working natively to support smart TVs?
Oh yeah. Listen, you gotta understand, the system is building ingestible files for platform-specific applications, meaning that all the system, after you do all these fancy things, it's basically building a JSON, even the SDKs. So like our SDKs are vastly different. So our SDKs, instead of saying, here's an SDK, take it, Roku, what we're doing is saying, here's a group of pictures, take that, Roku. And by the way, to look at the menu, go read the main menu JSON. If you want to go read the videos, go read the video JSON. If you want to go read the images, go read the image JSON. So then when you're in our system, you're actually manipulating these JSONs. So it doesn't matter what version you have, because at the end of the day, we're feeding the right platform, the right in the right language for the content that you're putting up and the configuration you're doing. Just like everything goes over to Apple and JavaScript, so it all fits in all their stuff. So every platform does the same. So it doesn't matter what you view it with, because we're just feeding its native files to it the way that they want it. So that doesn't matter.
Once an intro video is added to a channel in my dashboard, is it automatically added to all the videos on Roku, or is there need to refresh the feed?
Okay, so the way that works is you have to, it's not automatically added, because you may not want that intro automatically added to every video. So what you have to do is you have to specifically go in and just check a button, because you may not want it, right? So the thing about it is, if you were to upload an intro, you can still upload videos without forcing that intro to be on there, right? So for example, and I can share my screen again. I don't know why I stopped sharing my screen. Let me do this. So if you go back to mine, you see there's an intro here, right? So if I go out of this, or hold on, that's not what I meant to do at all. If I go in here now and go to my uploader, you see now there's this intro button. So if I upload something and do not check it, it's not going to put the intro in it. To get it? So if I want to bring in a YouTube channel, the whole channel, if I check this, it'll bring the intro on every single video that it brings in. Almost done. It'll bring it, but if I don't check it, it won't put the intro on it. So it's not like it's going to do it automatically, because sometimes people don't want that in there. So,
is it possible to set up a custom resolution for a live stream?
Custom resolution for a live stream. I don't think that's really set up. I think that the resolution in which you shoot, like you can't say, hey, stream this in 4K with a camera that doesn't do 4K. I think whatever you stream in the camera is what's going to be put through there. So I don't know if that's necessarily something that would be set up in the stream. It would more be setting on a device, a video device that you're using. But
Okay.
again, you got to be very careful about stuff like that, because if you go in our system and say record this thing, and you got a new camera, the default is probably 4K. And if you're live streaming in 4K and it's recording it, dude, your storage is going to be gone in no time. And then people are like, I don't know what happened. And then it's because it was actually, you were streaming in 4K. So it was recording the video in 4K because that's what it was getting. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Well, have you tested your live stream link with JW Player video player?
Again, we haven't tried it with that one specifically, but any player works because it's just an MP4 link or an HLS link. It's their industry standards. We didn't create these standards. We just adhered to them. So any player that sticks with the same, like if JW Player doesn't accept HLS streams, which the whole world does, well, that's a problem. And if that's the case, you shouldn't be using that player because they're not following industry standards. So we follow industry standards, as do most of the players. But I can't speak to JW because we do not use that, because it's one of those you got to pay to use players. And there's a lot of players out there you don't have to pay to use. So.
Can you add an intro to a video that is already on Livecast365?
No, like if it's already been pushed to the server, it's already there and being saved there. So you can't go retroactively put a file. What I would tell you to do is delete that file, re-upload it, and use your intro, because it's not going to reach into the server. We don't have a button on there. Like when you go look at the channel content and you edit it, there's no button in there that says add intro, and it doesn't go grab it. It doesn't go grab it and then add the intro back and then repost it. So we don't have that now. That can be done. That's a feature request. And if you get momentum for that, that's something we could build. But no, right now, it doesn't retroactively put in intros, outros, or credits.
Well, that brings us to the end of the questions and answers part of the webinar. Well, thank you very much, Brill, for the presentation and for answering all the questions. And thank you, everybody, for coming. If there are any questions that require additional explanations, or perhaps if I missed one or two of them, could you please contact us after the webinar, and we will make sure to answer you individually. The replay will be available later today in case you missed some part of the webinar. Once again, thank you, Brill. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and see you next time.
I say one more thing. You can email support@livecast365.com. That's where and then we'll send it. We have a manager. His name is Mark. He manages all that, and he will route your questions, concerns, or issues to the correct department. Support@livecast365.com. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you, and see you next time.
Thanks.